RBE. Rare Breed Entertainment coming through. Let's just say this about RBE. They besides the top spot, they in that second spot. That's pretty much no debate. There was an interview with Oplex recently with Danny Myers. We were stating that there's really no one even in competition for that spot. So this battle is definitely long awaited for us who have not had the pay-per-view. So we want to recap this battle. Let's get right into it now. For me, it's slightly off classic. It's not a certified classic, but what we will say, this is certainly a bars on deck level battle, just below classic, just because I didn't feel that the classic energy was there. Round one, let's get right into Danny Myers coming off with the personal angle, basically challenging A-Ward's Christianity. Like, look, if you're gonna try to be out here claiming and purporting that you Christian, you may want to act like one. So when someone's talking about and dogging my wife, it just doesn't seem very Christian that you be in the background laughing. It's a fair angle and one that's very rough to dispute. He gets into a lot of multis at certain points and he ends it with the horseman behind him. I thought slavery was over. That is a bar. That's a haymaker, room shaker. Pretty much the hardest bar on the round for Danny Myers right there. If they start shooting blasphemy, we hear the blasphemy lines. To me, it's kind of a bit of lazy writing to use it against a Christian. So, I mean, because we've heard it before. I did like the peacefully in his sleep. Perfect way to die. Then he gets to the disrespectful angle on the wife. Now, I thought this is kind of a little payback for talking about, his wife. But I also felt like this was some old school Danny, right? Where we get the straight up, like, I'm about to talk about you and I'm about to be disrespectful. We haven't really seen this in a while from Danny. Not him going so hard. He really kind of needs to get back to that. We need that old Danny if we really want to see him continue to excel, because the battle rap game is getting, it's cutthroat at this point. There's no room for friendship. There's no room for laughter. There's no room for handshake. There's no room for clicks. There ain't no room for nothing. But moving on, I did like the Terminator movie scheme, moving into that, ending it with Judgment Day. So a very strong round for Danny Myers. Then we get right into A-Ward. A-Ward tries to say, he was laughing at his wife because Danny doesn't care about his wife. Not the best rebuttal coming from a Christian. Remember, we're working within those bounds, right? You're a Christian battle rapper, so you kind of have to work within certain means. And once you get outside of those means, it's starting to kind of like question, like, how real is that Christianity to you? No slight to A-Ward. The parallel universe Jesus bar, that is a haymaker. I really like that bar because, it's very clever and so accurate. The 12G Rex angle, again, I'm really tired of hearing about it. Nice with the Terry. The King of the Dot, Battle of the Year angle. He dominates. He's used to it. That's actually a good bar. If I was Danny, I would have rebutted next round with a pause, but I ain't gonna get into that. The mid-round rebuttal, I thought was kind of weak. The DM line, I thought that was a little gas. The holographic rare card, I was a card collector, I do get it. It was a bar. Now the Verge Mad Libs angle about Danny basically kind of using what we want to call universal bars that anybody can stand in front of. That's a good angle, and the way that he ended it with the verb, that's just very clever. Any more direct, I on Rap Grid expressing, trying to say, I come direct with my rounds. I literally write them for the person that I'm rapping for, which is a very good angle. And then back to Genesis. So a very strong first round for A-Ward as well. This is a really difficult round to call. I do give it to Danny. I felt like A-Ward came, it took him a little longer to get going in that first round. I didn't like the 12 Rex, so I kind of 12G Rex angle, so I kind of took points away from that because it's old. So Danny gets round one for me. Now we're moving into round two. Danny starts getting on the tickets. You selling tickets to a preaching tour. And the ironic thing is, like, one of the Horsemen members really in the background says, "Get your tickets," and it just comes off wrong. You know what I mean? So I thought that's a strong angle, and it's a very hard angle to combat unless you're going to rebuttal. But we'll see what we get from A Ward in the second round. The hold your horses, I like that. You know, it's kind of still living on the horseman scheme, horseman angle, but that's cool. The Street Hymns backpack, drop a little comedic bars in there. That was cool. Subliminal fire emojis. The Antichrist, yeah, like I said, back to the whole like kind of I feel like lazy writing in regards to like you know, just a Christian rapper, but it does in the same sentence dispute what A Ward was saying in the first round about Danny only, you know, writing universal bars, which I don't think is true. Yeah, you got excuse that I got family. But I don't think it's true. But you know, the taxing the church, you know, was a clever line. A Ward of the State, a direct bar, you know what I'm saying? I like the loaded up rounds because they're tired of choking. It's kind of a, you know, young MCs look at it, because I've always said that, like, you need to have one round on deck. Yes, you can talk about universal bars and universal rounds all you want, but they are pivotal. And that universal round that you have on deck, you should be able to hit that bad boy mid-round, quarter round, 3/4 round through. That way, depending on where your round is at and you choke, you can start that round there. But I ain't gonna get into the schematics of battling too much. The shuttle iron mental ward, these are more specific bars again. But the pivotal bar in here is about talking about Jesus turning over the table when they were selling merch in the temple. Like, ooh, I mean, even Street Hymns had kind of like a little like a thoughtful moment on that. I mean, you could throw that out all you want, you know what I'm saying, while you sitting up there as a Christian battler, but like as a Christian off stage, it's kind of like, yeah, that's the epitome really of what they were doing, you know what I'm saying? They were like using that area in the temple, right? You know, they had like separate areas. They were using that one to kind of like, you know, sell tchotchkes and things. That's what little Jewish people call, you know, little small gifts or whatever. So that was a heavy angle. All right, but anyways, we're going to move on. I did like the G dot period. That's an end round rebuttal without declaring it, so extra points there. A Ward in the second, that rebuttal again, like this was one of his weakest rebuttal game crazy round battles for me, because like he started that rebuttal in the second round like as if he was going to dispute the selling merch in the temple angle. But he actually ended up rebuttaling the chest bar. I caught that dude, because I was waiting on what he had to say about selling church. And you kind of like skirted around the topic without really anybody noticing. I caught that. The kick Kareem, that was a very good punch, right? Because he already had this like illiteracy going on, these multis kicking, and then with the heavy, like it was not even just multis and illiteracy. He just literally was dropping like, I want to say haymakers, but like gut shot, left, and it ends up with like a heavy right hook. It was definitely a good run for A Ward right there in the second. He talked about Danny running from a battle. I've never seen that. And listen, please, no more Lieutenant Dan bars. I don't ever want to hear those again. He kind of did a little bit of what he claimed Danny was doing by using universal bars. So you got to be careful when you hit somebody on an angle like that, because it can easily backfire. Because if anybody's watching closely, they'll just see that you're doing the same thing. So it's not, the angle becomes ineffective or ineffective at that point. I did like the semi broke down back to the direct bars, the vague and direct angle. I would have taken points away from the direct being used twice, but it's, you know, with the shots, and I get that. I get what was going on with the whole video and things. The family broke, I took points away from that, because I'm like, you gotta prove something with that. You can't just run a whole angle and then end it up with something that you really haven't shown proof for by saying like da 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 da, and it makes it all the worse because your family is broke. That don't fly anymore, especially on a stage like, and even if it didn't happen at this point, sorry, the battle dropped after it. But after a battle like Big K and Adi Boom, when you got actual proof coming out there, you can't just throw out accusations like that without proof. It just won't work. So I took points away from that. And that's actually like, that second round, I mean, it could have been Ward's, but I really gave that second round to Danny. Third round, Danny Myers, the DM experience, Flesh in My Flesh, you know, the DMX experience, running with the, you know, the DMX scheme, thinking about his, you know, A Ward's favorite album. It was alright. You know, watching, you know, Fiends Who Couldn't Walk on Water, heard that bar. The Apocalypse bar, that was clever. I haven't really caught that one. The A and D is War in the Middle. That was very clever because A-War's battled a lot of people. Even though he claims, you know, Danny battles all over the place, he is a very active battler as well, so he really has no room to talk. But that was a clever angle because I've never heard it against A-Ward. Let's go into the A+. I couldn't get a high grade in this. Yeah. Direct with, you know, with Christ like Mel Gibson. That was fly. You know what I'm saying? A lot of cats kind of miss the fact that Mel Gibson directed Passion Christ. Round Over Award, Golden Globe. The Sun angle. This whole thing, like, this was a bad idea. It was a complete misfire. It was horrible. I don't know who thought that was cool, but you know, it was bad. And then the parallel universe ending with you putting the kid in front of A-Ward saying that you're introducing him to gods. Nah, all that was whack. I ain't like none of that. A-Ward, third. Quick note to RBE, the dude passed out in the beginning of the round. I mean, if he passed out somewhere halfway through, I get it, but he passed out in the beginning of the round, cut that. Rebuttal was nice, you know what I mean? And then Danny opened himself up completely to this. Like, the rebuttal was super nice. First, I've shaken your son's hand as many times as you shaking it. And you might want to check on that dude who fell out in the back. That might be your son too. Like, I mean, that's where he was at with it. He brought up the pass loss, which was a horrible loss. The Kendall Jenner, I liked it. He had a nice cadence going into that bar. Fake smoke will get you chalk like candy cigarettes. Very hot bar. Main stage Little League. Everybody get the same award. Now that was fire, right? Because what's really happening here is like Danny Myers and A-Ward are the same whoever. You know what I'm saying? And that's the beauty of MCs like them, man. They could not care less who they standing in front of. Danny Myers, A-Ward, O-Red, JC, Disaster. Those are the kind of cats. It don't matter if you no name Joe. I'm finna cut your head off. I love them cats. So I thought that was nice. I thought that was a very good bar. Still Fly Manny Fresh. Yes, 30 South spitting right there. I'm with you on that one. The gun bars in the end. This is a quick just shout out to all Christian MCs. We know you can do gun bars. So like you doing gun bars, like on the slide, we caught that. We know what you're doing. Like you really trying to use the gun bar because you can't, and then you trying to say that you can't, but you're using it as an example. Really, just stop. Christian rappers don't do the gun bars because we know you can do them, right? So it's almost like giving, right? Okay, I gave to the poor, but I got to my job and was like, yo, I gave $5 to the homeless man. That's the equivalent of you using gun bars, saying you can use them, but you don't. See what I'm saying? You glorifying the fact that you don't. So don't do it. So really though, third round goes to A-Ward clearly. I think the only debatable round in this battle could be the first. I'm giving the first to Danny, the second to Danny as well. The third to A-Ward, 2-3 Danny Myers. It could be debatable, 2-1 either way. Battle scene.